Harvey Weinstein doesn't just serve time, he's spending it at $500,000 a month. While most inmates share cramped cells and questionable food, Weinstein wakes up to meals from a private chef, 24/7 medical care that rivals private hospitals, and personal security guards trained like Secret Service agents. This isn't prison, it's an exclusive retreat with bars. And it's not just him. Bernie Madoff turned the prison commissary into his personal Whole Foods. Are Kelly's music royalties still rake in millions while he's behind bars? El Chapo. He built his own prison with a jacuzzi and a tunnel escape route more expensive than your house. And wait till you hear about the CEO who paid $1 billion just to run away. Every month. These celebrity criminals spend more on prison comforts than most Americans make in a year. It's not about punishment. It's about how money rewrites the rules even inside maximum security. This video will uncover how the ultra-rich live better in prison than you do in freedom. And the most disturbing part, their crimes didn't stop. Some just got more profitable. But the story at minute 10, that one will make you question if justice in America ever existed at all. Gen 1, the Hollywood Predator. But let's start with the man whose name redefined Hollywood scandal, Harvey Weinstein. Once a red carpet regular and Oscar kingmaker, Weinstein now wakes up in a maximum security facility. But don't let the term fool you. His version of maximum security comes with freshly pressed Egyptian cotton sheets and a medical staff more responsive than a Beverly Hills concierge doctor. According to court filings, Weinstein's monthly prison expenses exceed $500,000. That's not a typo, $500,000 every month. Where does the money go? Start with private medical care, around-the-clock nurses, hospital-grade equipment, and a cocktail of pharmaceuticals that cost more than most people's rent. He's not sharing the infirmary with other inmates. He has a full suite that would make a private clinic jealous. Then there's security. Weinstein's crimes, especially against women, making him a target even behind bars. So he pays for a personal protection team, featuring ex-military and law enforcement veterans who guard him like a head of state. That alone runs over $100,000 a month. Hungry Weinstein doesn't touch prison food. Instead, private chefs deliver custom meals based on his dietary needs and personal cravings. His food budget $50,000 monthly? Yes, you read that right. He even has encrypted communication systems allowing secure video calls, business meetings, and legal strategizing, all monitored but barely restricted. But here's the kicker, none of this is technically illegal. It's a loophole-rich, dollar-fueled system where punishment becomes preference if you can afford it. Weinstein's team claims these perks help preserve his health for ongoing legal battles. But ask yourself when luxury becomes part of the sentence. Is it still justice? And Weinstein's not even the most outrageous case. Because next up, Bernie Madoff didn't just scam Wall Street, he turned the prison commissary into a gourmet marketplace. 2. The Ponzi king Bernie Madoff didn't just defraud investors out of $65 billion, he rewrote the rules of prison economics. While most inmates scraped together a few dollars for instant noodles or toothpaste, Madoff dropped over $50,000 a month on commissary. Yes, the prison convenience store became his personal Whole Foods and Best Buy combined. Imported coffee, gourmet snacks, premium hygiene products, even electronics. Madoff made special orders that arrived like VIP room service. He wasn't living in a cell, he was curating an experience. But the real twist, he didn't hoard it all. Madoff distributed luxury goods like business cards, building alliances, establishing trust, and effectively becoming the prison's unofficial banker. He lent money, brokered favors, and created a microeconomy within prison walls. Not because he missed Wall Street, but because he recreated it. His wealth didn't just soften his sentence, it gave him power behind bars. And for a man convicted of one of the biggest frauds in history, that kind of influence meant one thing. Punishment didn't strip away his identity, it just changed the boardroom. But if Madoff was the king of commissary, what happens when the inmate still earns millions a year while serving time? That brings us to the next story, and it's darker than you think. 3. The fallen star. While Bernie Madoff spent money he stole, R. Kelly spends money he still earns, even from behind bars. The disgraced R&B icon generates over $2 million a year in royalties. His music continues to stream, his songs play on radios, and licensing deals pump cash into trust accounts managed by high-end financial advisors. That revenue, it funds a defense team that rivals celebrity divorce cases, lawyers, investigators, expert witnesses, all costing upwards of $100,000 a month. But that's just the legal side. Inside prison, Kelly enjoys enhanced privileges that most inmates can't dream of: custom dietary plans, private communication systems, extra visitation rights, all legally arranged and all ridiculously expensive. And here's where it gets unsettling. Many of the very songs that earned him these millions are now seen as lyrical red flags glorifying the behaviors he was convicted for. His music funds the legal fight against the consequences of his music. It's a twisted feedback loop. The crimes create the controversy drives the streams pay for the lawyers. And as victims, they watch from the sidelines as the man who traumatized them uses fame and fan dollars to delay justice. But if you think music money is disturbing, wait until you meet a billionaire whose entire pregnancy became part of her legal strategy. 4. Silicon Valley's fraud. Elizabeth Holmes didn't just scam the healthcare system, she gamed the justice system. While her blood testing startup Theranos collapsed, leaving patients with false medical results and investors with billions lost. Holmes stayed in luxury suites, not holding cells. Her monthly expenses before sentencing topped $300,000, covering private chefs, personal trainers, luxury housing, and yes, concierge prenatal care costing over $50,000 a month. That's right, she was pregnant during trial. And that pregnancy became a strategic narrative, the struggling mother, manipulated by powerful men, just trying to protect her unborn child. Cue sympathy, cue delay. Holmes' legal team leaned hard into image control psych evaluations, expert testimony, media consultants. The bill, hundreds of thousands a month. The goal not just to reduce her sentence, but to preserve her brand. All the while, the real victims, the patients who trusted Theranos with their health, received apologies, not compensation. She called herself a visionary, but the real vision was this: a billionaire, standing trial for endangering lives, using motherhood and media optics as legal leverage. It's not just justice delayed, it's justice rebranded. But speaking of rebranding, what if you could rewrite the entire prison itself? Not just survive incarceration, but build it to your own specs. That's exactly what the next man did, and his name still terrifies governments. 5. The cartel emperor El Chapo didn't serve time, he owned it. While American celebrities rent privilege behind bars, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman built his own prison in Mexico, La Catedral, a custom-made fortress disguised as incarceration. We're talking jacuzzis, private kitchens, satellite TV, gold-plated bathrooms, and a soccer field. His monthly expenses topped $2 million, funding not just amenities, but a payroll of guards who acted more like hotel staff than law enforcement. They didn't monitor him. They protected his comfort. This wasn't house arrest. It was a criminal resort bankrolled by a $14 billion drug empire that didn't pause during his sentence. In fact, he ran it better from the inside. Most shocking, his most expensive renovation was an escape tunnel, equipped with lighting, ventilation, and a getaway motorcycle. The cost, more than what most cities spend on road infrastructure. And when the government tried to move him to a real prison, he simply walked out. El Chapo's time behind bars wasn't a consequence. It was a calculated investment, another outpost in a global operation. And while his empire used bribery, another high-profile criminal chose business-class travel and corporate lawyers to buy his freedom. Because next we follow the $1 billion escape plan of a CEO who treated justice like a delayed meeting. 6. The fugitive CEO, Carlos Ghosn, wasn't about to wait for a verdict. He turned criminal charges into a luxury travel itinerary. The former Nissan Renault CEO, facing financial misconduct in Japan, funded the most expensive escape plan in corporate history, over $1 billion spent on private jets, decoy teams, bribes, and legal maneuvering. His detention in Tokyo, more five-star suite than holding cell, private dining, business communications, concierge medical care. Even his legal team cost $500,000 a month not to prove innocence, but to control headlines and prep for escape. And the escape itself. A covert extraction, hiding inside a concert equipment case, flown out via private jet, routed through international safe houses from Turkey to Lebanon, where extradition laws protect him from Japanese prosecution. He now lives freely, hosting press conferences, giving interviews, and running business ventures while the charges remain unanswered. Justice, for Ghosn, became optional. And what's worse, the operation wasn't just expensive, it was effective. It proved that, with enough money and the right passport stamps, criminal accountability becomes a scheduling conflict. But if you thought Ghosn turned jail into a getaway, wait until you see the queen of domestic branding who made prison her networking retreat. Yes, we're talking about Martha Stewart and how she turned 5 months behind bars into a business seminar that made her even richer. 7. The domestic queen. Martha Stewart didn't just survive prison, she monetized it. Convicted of insider trading and sentenced to 5 months in federal prison, most expected her empire to collapse. Instead, Stewart treated incarceration like a high-end retreat, spending over $100,000 a month on commissary, private communications, and legal consultations. But here's where it gets genius. She used that money not for comfort, but for connection. Buying gifts from the prison store, she built alliances, hosting informal workshops. She earned respect. She wasn't doing time. She was building a brand. Her phone time wasn't for crying to friends. It was used to coordinate business strategy, plan post-release media, and negotiate partnerships. Her legal team, not appealing the conviction, they were planning the comeback. And it worked. After release, Stewart's stock prices rose, her audience doubled. Her authenticity rating, a thing in brand metrics, skyrocketed. Prison didn't stain her reputation. It made her relatable. She came out not as a disgraced felon, but as a rebranded survivor. And America ate it up. But if Martha Stewart turned prison into a TED Talk, our next story is even more profitable. Because the next inmate didn't just network. He built a $400 million gym empire while serving time for a violent crime. Yes, it's time to talk about Mike Tyson. 8. The heavyweight champion. Mike Tyson didn't waste his prison time. He invested it, convicted of rape and sentenced to 3 years. Most assumed the boxing legend's career was over. But Tyson turned prison into a training camp, one that cost over $200,000 a month. Inside, he had a private gym outfitted with professional-grade equipment. He hired personal trainers, nutritionists, spiritual advisors, even therapists and tutors to reshape not just his body, but his mind. While other inmates watched daytime TV, Tyson was preparing for multi-million-dollar bouts and writing the next chapter of his legacy. He even studied philosophy and religion, feeding a narrative arc the media couldn't resist, from monster to monk, from menace to redemption. The media ate it up. By the time he was released, he wasn't a disgraced athlete. He was a reborn warrior. Post-prison, Tyson's matches earned record-breaking purses. His autobiography sold millions. His public image transformed from feared predator to complex anti-hero, all forged behind bars. But make no mistake, that transformation was funded. Without the money to hire experts, control messaging, and stay in peak condition, Tyson's story wouldn't be a comeback, it'd be a cautionary tale. Instead, it became a $400 million rebirth. And that's the pattern, isn't it? In this system, prison isn't punishment. It's just another opportunity if you can afford it. And speaking of dodging consequences, our next stop is the Hollywood action star who owed $40 million in taxes, but still lived like a blockbuster icon behind bars. Let's talk Wesley Snipes, 9, the tax evader. Wesley Snipes didn't pay his taxes, $40 million worth, and when the IRS finally caught up with the Blade Star, he served a 3-year federal sentence. But behind those bars, he wasn't exactly slumming it. Snipes spent over $100,000 a month while incarcerated on private legal advisors, upgraded commissary privileges, and exclusive communication channels that let him keep his Hollywood world spinning. He wasn't fighting for freedom. He was negotiating future deals from prison. Enhanced phone access allowed him to coordinate with agents, lawyers, and producers. And protective custody ensured no one messed with a man still walking red carpets in the public's imagination. Ironically, the very government he defrauded through taxes that fund prisons provided the infrastructure he used to preserve his brand. While most inmates fight to survive, Snipes was busy preserving a legacy. And it worked. After release, he stepped right back into the spotlight, signed new contracts, and re-entered the industry like his sentence was just a sabbatical. He gamed the system and came out richer for it. But even Snipes, with all his celebrity access, can't top what you're about to hear next. Because the next man didn't just buy comfort. He built his own prison. Welcome to the story of the Cocaine King, Pablo Escobar, who turned incarceration into a luxury estate with a waterfall and soccer field. And that's not even the wild part. 10. The Cocaine Kingpin. Pablo Escobar didn't serve time. He negotiated it. When Colombian authorities finally cornered the world's most notorious drug lord, they struck a deal Escobar would go to prison, but only if he could design it himself. And so he did. La Catedral wasn't a correctional facility. It was a $30 million luxury compound built to his specifications, funded by his billions, and run by his men. The amenities: a soccer field, a bar, a waterfall, multiple bedrooms, jacuzzis, a nightclub, even torture chambers for when he needed to take care of business. He threw parties, hosted guests, and continued running the entire Medellin cartel from within the prison walls he paid to build. His guards, loyal employees with better salaries than police chiefs, security better than most presidential residences. He wasn't just living comfortably, he was profiting. Escobar's empire grew while he was incarcerated. When the Colombian government finally tried to move him to a real prison, he simply walked away. No breakout, no violence, just vanished. Because when you're worth $30 billion, walls mean nothing. Escobar's imprisonment wasn't a compromise. It was a business arrangement. And with that, we reach the real question. If prison looks like this for the wealthy, then what does punishment actually mean? The answer might just leave you furious. Let's talk about what all these stories reveal about America and what they're really hiding. What connects Harvey Weinstein's silk bedding to Escobar's soccer field? One brutal truth: justice bends if your wallet's heavy enough. These weren't just crimes, they were case studies in how wealth transforms consequences into conveniences, while ordinary Americans sit in overcrowded cells, eating from styrofoam trays. The rich live out punishment with private chefs, personal trainers, and legal dream teams. This isn't rehabilitation, it's rebranding. It's luxury wrapped in legal loopholes. It's a system where money doesn't just buy lawyers, it buys an entirely different reality. And that should terrify you, because if incarceration becomes a lifestyle upgrade for the elite, what happens to those without a cent? They get the real prison, the violence, the decay, the silence. So ask yourself, is the justice system broken? Or is it functioning exactly as designed for those it was never meant to punish? Which story shocked you the most? Was it Escobar's jungle resort, Weinstein's hospital-grade suite, or the CEO who paid $1 billion just to vanish? Let us know in the comments, and if you think this was wild, the next video, we dive into the mob boss whose prison lifestyle was so outrageous. It even made Elon Musk raise an eyebrow. Subscribe so you don't miss it, because sometimes the real crime isn't what they did, it's what they got away with.